We're live. We caught that. All right. Live on YouTube and going live on the podcast. 3, 2, 1. Hey, EJ. We've told a lot of people how they can support the show by going to patreon.com/diary of a trans woman and donating in as little as they want, right?
We sure have, Abby.
So one of the things that I realized that we don't do anymore is we tell people all the time, you can donate as little as you want, but what we don't tell people is you can donate as much as you want.
You can donate dozens and dozens of dollars. You can donate
Dozens of dollars.
thousands, millions,
Dozens, millions.
dozens of millions. So much money that you could be giving us right now.
That was great. Perfect. First take. Hi, everybody. It is Diary of a Trans Woman, and this is episode 73. It is a beautiful Thursday night. It is the 27th of July. Yeah. Hope you like it. What?
It's episode 74.
It's episode 74?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Okay, yeah, it's episode 74.
We're in the future, Abby.
Oh. All the way in CHI, my BFF EJ is hanging out. Hi, EJ.
Hey, Abby.
So yeah, how's it been?
You know.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, what did you do today?
What did I do today? Oh boy.
Did you deal with some microaggressions?
Not for a couple of days. Today was okay with the microaggressions.
Oh, was it yesterday or a few days ago?
Yeah, it was a few days ago.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I was on the phone. So something you might not know about me, I have a lot of debt, and there was a company that mailed me. It's just like, hey, we can help you with your debt, and so I called them up and was talking to them, and they were like, oh well, tell me how much a month do you want to be spending? How much a month do you want to be like paying off this? How long do you want to take to do this? You want to be able to save your money and provide for your family. And it was just like, oh, shit, I don't know. That's like
It's a weird question to be asked. Just like,
oh yeah, I would like to be paying $0 for the rest of my life and have it go away. But if I have to pick an arbitrary number,
or either that, or you'd love to be paying $1 million a month and just get it done with. There's like two extremes you could go for.
Exactly. If I had $1 million in debt, which of course,
if you had $1 million,
oh, I'd be rich. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I was talking to him, and he was just like, "Don't be shy about it. We're both men. We both want to provide for our family." It's like, dude, come on. You saw my name. You saw my. It's not like my legal name is EJ. It's like you saw my legal name. I have a lady name.
Yeah.
And so should know better. But
it's probably looking right at it too.
Yeah.
I work on the phones. Like, yeah, the people that I'm talking to, like their files are up in my computer screen. I see their name. I know who I'm talking to. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not the name is applying to someone who is male or female.
And like, it's hard to get surd, we get surd. Sometimes we're not on top of our pitch and our resonance, and we get surd. But this was just like, yeah, we're both men. It's just like, please do not. I did not ask for this male bonding bullshit. I'm just trying to get myself out of debt. Please.
There's no bromance happening on this call.
Like, I can tell he's like trying to do some kind of peer pressure. And mind you, this company I work with, they were like, oh yeah, we know you get all sorts of scammy nonsense in the mail from people who want to help you with your debt, but we're rated A plus from the Better Business Bureau, so we're good and we want to help you. And it's just like, oh great, I want to be helped. I love it when people help me. It's just like, yeah, we're both men. It's just like, oh, jeez. Jeez.
So did you correct him?
No, but later on I mentioned that, it's just like, okay, so I'm seeing like 4 accounts here. It's just like, you have any more? It's like, yeah, I have it. It's like, why are they showing up? It's like, oh, because I legally changed my name a few months ago. Do you want me to send you my name change documents? And so I think he knows by now.
Yeah, you would think. You would I would hope so.
But certainly, like, I later on, he's just like, oh, I got to go into a meeting, but I'm gonna put you on with my supervisor, and he's gonna walk you through the rest of it. And I'm just like, okay, I am going to correct my voice right now. I am going to bring the pitch up a little bit, and kind of elevate the end of my sentences, and do that kind of thing. And then like the next day, I was so on it. Like somebody from the associated law firm called me, and I was Mrs. Kaiser. And it's just like, you damn right I am. You damn right.
Nice. I try and do that. I think that's one of the things that I have been working on a little bit. I don't spend a lot of time working on my voice. I do try and do my best to like trail up at the end of sentences. Because when you end a sentence and you end on a low note and you talk and you just finish by going down, it sounds more masculine. But if you finish going up and you finish your sentences on a high note, it can make you sound more feminine. So I try and do that in the phone as much as I can, but even so,
Yeah.
I get tired so many times on the phone.
I
Every
forget
day.
if I mentioned this before, but I've been going to the Northwestern University Center for Audiology, Speech, Language, and Learning.
Hmm.
Been going to some real pros. They have like a dedicated transgender voice program thing.
Not-
Like a dedicated thing where they just like help people find their trans voice, and they're just like very good. I mean, I'm working with both with somebody who's kind of a expert at it, and then also with somebody who, I mean, just grad students too.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's cool. They give me exercises and just ways to practice, and we go through stuff. And it was actually it was really weird because like usually they have this default like passage that you read through that's just like about sunshine and rainbows and stuff. It's
Mhm.
just like just this really like non-offensive thing that you just read through to practice,
Like
reading.
the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy blue dog or whatever.
Yeah, more or less, except about rainbows and sunshine. And the last time I went in, he's like the person I was working with, Brian's just like, here, I thought, there would be some you'd like to be able to read something else. And so she printed out an article about roller derby in the New York Times, except the New York Times hasn't like written about it since 2009. And so it's this old article, and it's just like full of like, and it references, one of the local Chicago teams that I had like a not great time with. So I'm just like, okay, I don't want to practice talking about this person, so let's
No.
just skip this paragraph.
They tried though.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. They are fantastic.
How long have you been going to see them?
Recently it's been once a week, but it kind of depends. Like they have different. I mean, it depends on the semester over there. It depends when I can fit in on my schedule. I mean, it's going to be a little bit less frequent, but then I'm also they have like a group session they're doing that they've been trying to get going for a little while. That is starting, I think, next week. I think I'm gonna start going next week, where it's a I just have a bunch of trans women, and we, work on stuff together, and we go into real world situations and practice it. And
I don't know. I've never been a fan of the idea of like group sessions for like things like therapy or speech or learning or make any place where you have to make yourself vulnerable like that. I would rather not do it in front of people. I'd rather do it on a microphone in my basement where
fair enough.
nobody can reach me.
I mean, you got to deal with my judgmental eyes, Abo.
Yeah, I gotta deal with your eyes and some of the people that jump into the live chat room. That's always fun.
Oh boy.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, so have you noticed a change? Have things been
I've been
better?
a little more aware of it. I've been able to catch myself a little bit more and to be able to like kind of control it a little bit better. I mean, certainly. So one of the worst times was just like when we first started doing these episodes, and like occasionally I would catch myself in the middle of it. It's just like, oh, I sound like my brother. Oh,
No, you can't do that. I hate going back and listening to.
I'm not listening to them intentionally. Like I think it was like you were like going through it, like trying to work on the recording, and I just went
Oh
to
yeah, the big brassy lady.
yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, that's what my voice sounds like. And so I felt so bad about that. So now I'm a lot more cognizant of it.
I do the same thing. Like I'll do like a noise reduction filter on it to filter out any like background stuff, and I'll go and listen to like 2 seconds tops just to make sure it sounds okay. And then I'll throw it right up and not pay attention to it ever again.
I've been working. I took singing lessons last year when I had my broken ankle, and I took, now I'm taking this, and it's just like I would just like to like my voice, especially
Mhm.
considering like I write songs and stuff, and I would like to be able to do stuff with them without just like hating myself afterwards. I don't know how real musicians do it, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I've given up on my singing career.
Oh,
I used to be in choir, but not anymore.
oh man.
I can't sing in the cadence that I want to sing in. So
Here in Chicago, there's like a trans community choir that someone I work with sings at. Uh,
really,
yeah, yeah. There's like a just for transes, so it's like
Kansas.
yeah, all the transgenders.
Um, yeah, I need to go and spend more time in Chicago.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I am.
Gosh,
We're gonna EJ and I are gonna be getting together
yeah.
for is this the third time in a month?
The third time. What was the first time?
Early January or July.
Oh yeah, that was when like
I was
we
flying through and I had a layover.
had the
Oh,
pizza.
here.
So,
Yeah. And then you came over to my place because I was not doing well, and you're a good friend. And then I need a vacation and we need to do some fun stuff. So
yeah, and also I'm not doing awesome either, and so it's a reciprocal thing.
life just sucks. If
It's
any,
bad.
is it just me, or has there been just a big amount of trans people out in the world that have been having a rough time lately?
Oh
I
gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in general, like life is not easy, but in the past month specifically, I have seen more posts by my trans friends posting about like, I need good vibes. I'm not doing so well. Like, send cute pictures because I want to smile at something.
Yeah, for me it was like maybe 2 or 3 months ago where I just saw this steady stream of my trans friends who were like, oh, I gotta check myself into, some mental health facility. I'm, having this major terrible time. So it's like, I mean, certainly things have been bad for you and me more recently, but a lot of my friends, it seemed like it was all clustered a few months
Yeah.
ago. That was really,
It's a winter. Like winter is when seasonal depression is supposed to set in. It's
yeah,
not supposed to be in the summer. Summer's supposed to be happy. If this is summer, I don't want to know what winter's like.
oh boy.
I don't do well in the winter.
No, no, it's not good.
No, it's not good. Oh,
Oh,
I remembered something that we can talk about that I didn't talk to you about beforehand. I am changing my name on my birth certificate.
what?
I know. I didn't know you could do that. I
I,
didn't I didn't realize that you could touch your birth certificate before any kind of surgery happened, if for Michigan at least.
okay.
I know some states you can't. I have a friend in Ohio who's just, I mean, I actually have a few trans friends in Ohio, and Ohio, their current rule is you just can't touch it. Doesn't matter what you do. And I think that's Ohio and two other states that are like that.
I know Tennessee is trash like that.
Yeah.
I
Um,
forget what. See, when I got it changed here in Illinois, I forget whether I did it on my birth certificate, which is probably not a great thing. Got changed on my social security and my driver's license and all that.
oh yeah, that was cake. And weirdly enough, in Ohio, like super easy to change your name. In Ohio, super easy to change your gender marker on your on your license. But anything else, and it's just like you can't touch anything. You can't touch your birth certificate with a 10-foot pole.
Oh boy.
In Michigan, I need to get my Ohio license moved over and be a Michigan license. And in order to do that, I need all the paperworks. And a lot of people have a very hard time understanding how Abigail Wessels is not necessarily the name that's going to be showing up on that birth certificate. And so I need to send a crap ton of stuff over to them to make sure that they get it. I got to pay. I'm going to be paying $70 for this copy of a birth certificate to change everything and getting a copy.
Oh boy.
It sucks. I'm not super happy about it, but I want to get it done because I need to just have it'd be nice to get that changed. That would mean that there is no form of official document that has my dead name on it, which is, I would like that.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to in Illinois the Transformative Justice Law Project of Illinois. They have their monthly name change mobilization where just they sit at a table in the Daily Center, which has like all the federal offices downtown. And it's just like you go into that office and show up, and then they just walk you through it and they help you schedule a court date, and somebody will show up with you in court to like walk you through it. And they
Nice.
amazing. I love them.
TJLP. Okay. I know Trans Ohio was really good for me. They had a lot of resources on for me when I was living in Ohio. I know there's similar programs like that in Michigan, but I haven't had a chance to look into it.
Ugh, such silly states.
Yeah. So yeah, right now I'm trying to do that, and apparently I faxed all of my information to the wrong people. I there's a company that holds and looks up the records, and then the actual government is where you have to go to change things. So if you want to order a birth certificate, you do it at this place. But if you want to change a birth certificate, you do it in this place, and then they send the information over to this company, and they send the thing out. It's a big cluster F, and it's a little bit annoying, but I'm excited to finally get it done. I would like it to get done soon.
I when you said cluster F, I remember I at a job a few years ago, I had a boss who described something as a cluster mess.
Cluster mess.
Oh, it's like you tried really hard, buddy. You really tried.
I mean, I can understand not wanting to offend people by using dirty words, but
Cluster mess?
cluster mess.
Really?
So EJ, guess what I did at work today?
Oh, did it have anything to do with spicy chicken?
It had everything to do with spicy chicken.
Oh,
I
you're
I
after my
want
heart.
a what?
You're after my heart.
I won a chick
What
I
made?
won a chicken contest, a chicken wing eating contest.
Oh.
I ate 10 boneless chicken wings in a minute and 25 seconds. And I won a gold medal for my team at work for the Summer Olympics that we're having, because we're a fun job. Um, No, it was fun. I never realized I could swallow.
I did.
I never realized I could swallow entire chicken wings, one right after another. But apparently I can. So that's something to add to my resume, I guess. Um, so yeah, it was there were 5 teams. Um, 5 teams. We are my team is Canada. I'm Canada. And then there's Spain, Egypt, Australia, and Japan. And so 5 of us got to get like one person from each team came, and it was 3 guys, me, and some other girl. And before we all get started, they're like, "All right, everybody get together with a group picture, and we'll take a picture of everybody." And so we all get together, we put our arms around each other, and we smile for the camera. And then the girl next to me just out into the open, just throws out, "Man, where are all the girls at? Why are there no females here? Why am I the only one? Where are all the females at?"
Ugh. Boo.
That was my microaggression that I dealt with, and like this was right as they were taking pictures, so I'm pretty sure there's pictures of me just going like, "Bitch, what? Huh?" 'Cause I glared at her for a good few seconds, and she was just completely oblivious. I think everyone was oblivious. There were like 20 people there.
I had the same thing in a roller derby locker room when I was getting ready to referee, and it was me, one lady ref, and 5 dude refs, and the lady ref is just like, "Oh, I'm the only lady ref," and I'm like, "Excuse me,
Yeah,
girl."
people are so dumb. Like, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's the dumb microaggressions. They don't mean to be assholes, but they completely are.
right.
It's frustrating.
Yours is more of a midi aggression. It goes down past the knee.
A midi?
A midi?
A
Yeah.
midi aggression?
Yeah.
Okay.
Skirt lengths, like a micro skirt. There's the midi skirt that goes past that, and then a maxi that goes down to your ankles.
Oh, okay. I'm a jeans girl, not a skirt girl.
Okay, thanks for the
Maybe
ranger.
maybe once I get an Orky, I can go ahead and tuck a little bit better and be more of a skirt girl. But not right now.
It's all flared for me. I have this vintage look going on, and
Mhm.
I don't know,
Oh, don't get me wrong, I love the vintage look.
after I started presenting female at work, I just did not wear jeans for like 2 years.
I like my comfy jeans. I'm all for a vintage look. I like an 80s punk vibe.
I dig it.
It's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive looking at your body, because it's just like, yeah, I know. It's just like, for me, it's like, oh, am I gonna pass as female if I'm not wearing a pretty dress? Maybe. I mean, with you, no problem.
I appreciate that.
Unless you're eating chicken wings, which I guess you do in a
I
very,
mean,
I don't know.
I think swallowing giant loads of meat made me pass even more.
I would think so,
Yeah.
but it was boneless.
Huh?
It was boneless though, so
True.
that
True.
might ruin the illusion.
Well, being boneless just means they go all the way down. They don't have to come back out again.
Boneless is just another word for cis women.
Welcome to Euphemism Hour with Abby and EJ in the morning. Uh, all right, so let's go ahead. Anything else going on in your life that you want to talk about, EJ?
My life?
My life.
I'll give my life. I don't know. I just had some great ravioli with some homemade meat sauce. That was dope, but it's not really gender related.
No, I talk about fix my car in here, so that's fine.
Oh, right
I
on.
ate 10 I ate 10 chicken wings in a minute and 25 seconds, and then I got upset because I like enjoying my chicken wings, so I went and had 5 more,
Nice.
and I savored them. And then I stayed very still at my desk for about an hour and a half.
No, I go to see a nutritionist to treat my avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, which just means I have a very limited diet. And one of the one of the first things she suggested to try to like kind of expand my diet is to do more of a do pasta with like red sauce more often and do
Mhm.
and maybe do it with a meat sauce. So I made some earlier this week, and it's taken me through about 3 different meals, thankfully. But I just dump some of that on a some frozen ravioli, and it's just like, yeah, I did something decent for my diet today, according to my nutritionist. So cool.
You heat the ravioli up, right?
No, I eat frozen ravioli.
You
Yeah,
said frozen ravioli.
they were frozen, then I boiled them in water.
Okay, but you said you poured the sauce on the frozen ravioli. You're supposed to heat it before and then pour the sauce onto it.
I heated it up. I put it in the water. It came out of my freezer.
Time for news. Oh, I just burped. Chicken burp. Oh, we're good. Um, so we got some stuff that's happened in the news.
Uh, first and foremost, the biggest thing.
What, what are you drinking there, EJ?
This is a Coca-Cola Zero.
Yeah, I heard Coke Zero was in the news, and that's very.
Stopping making it.
They're not making Coke Zero anymore.
They're gonna change it to Coke Zero Sugar, which
What's going to be different?
it's like a different recipe. They're like, it's gonna taste more like original Coke.
That
Like
was the whole point of Coke Zero, though, wasn't it?
Coke Zero is fine. I don't need them to change it. Coke Zero Sugar is not my real dad. It's like Coke Zero is what taught me it was okay to be a woman and be strong. It had the femininity of a 0-calorie cola, but it also had the strength. I mean, it's not Diet Coke with its feminine undertones. No, Coke Zero is strong. Coke Zero is just like zero sugar, zero mercy. Coke Zero is for the hip youths, for people who don't take no nonsense. And now they're giving me some nonsense and trying to take it away from me. For what? Coke Zero Sugar?
If they renamed it Coke Zero Mercy, would that be better?
I mean, no.
We got a half hour left in the show. I can sit back if you want to rant.
It's just like I feel so betrayed by the Coca-Cola Corporation. Who I
Mhm.
could look, Coca-Cola Zero came out in 2005. At that time, I was downing all sorts of like full calorie sodas, just like loaded with syrup, just like how all sorts of that HFCS. As a kid, my parents always had like caffeine free Diet Coke stocked on a shelf that wasn't even cool. So, I mean, I was drinking it lukewarm all the time. It was
Mhm.
miserable and I hated it. And then when I got to go to college and I got that hot, full calorie stuff, oh boy, that was the stuff. And then I started gaining weight. So I was just like, oh, well, Coke Zero, I don't know I'm a girl yet. And this is supposed to be like a manly alternative to Diet Cola for Diet Coke. It's just like, yeah, give me that. And so I got it. And it was just like, it was life changing. It was there for me all through my transition, you know?
if Coke is the full masculine and Diet Coke is the full feminine, then Coke Zero should be renamed Coke GNC. Coke gender nonconforming.
It's like Coke Zero is the spirit of the transgender community, you know?
I have never liked Coke.
But Coke Zero,
I've never tried. I don't think I've ever tried. I've always hated the taste of diet sodas.
yeah, but even people who don't like diet soda like the Coke Zero.
Okay, well maybe I'll need to try some.
And cherry Coke Zero, holy cow! Next
Do
to
they,
the gods.
do they have vanilla Coke Zero?
Eh.
I like vanilla.
Oh yeah, I like vanilla too, just not in my cola.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be perfectly honest, this wasn't what we were going to talk about, but I feel like we could talk about this for a while. We can talk about the cover up. They tried to cover this story up with something else.
Oh, oh boy,
We got to get into it. I don't want to, but we gotta.
we gotta.
We gotta. Do you have the tweets up?
Which tweets?
The tweets that were used to cover up the Coke Zero story.
Oh yeah, those tweets.
Those tweets. Let me see if I can find exactly what they are. Oh, excuse me. This is great podcasting. Big gay boat. Okay, here we go. This is from President Donald J. Tangerine. After consultation with my generals and military experts, please be advised that the United States government will not accept or allow transgender individuals to serve in any capacity in the U.S. military. Our military must be focused on decisive and overwhelming victory and cannot be burdened with the tremendous medical costs and disruption that transgender in the military would entail. Thank you. So that came out yesterday. Was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning at about 9 a.m.
And then the Pentagon this morning was just like, we're not changing anything yet.
Yeah.
We're not, just because he tweeted a thing doesn't mean we're going to change it. Hold up. Let's figure this out.
Somebody jumped the gun. That's never happened before with him. Jeez. So what does this entail? Like, what are the ramifications of this statement? And if it is implemented, what are the implications of that? Or if it's not implemented and this was just complete bullshit, what are the implications of that?
So, I don't know. I mean, I saw two angles on it. I saw there's, of course, the angle that's like, oh, well, institutionalized segregation from the government, never a good thing, which is true. And then there's also the angle, it's just like, oh, well, the military is imperialist and colonialist, and it's just used for killing brown people. So it's like, yeah, that's true too. And you can believe both things, but I don't know. It's something that, like, institutionalizing it, I mean, I'm concerned about people who are, broke enough that they have to choose between joining the army and going homeless. It's like, I'm concerned about the army dads with transgender daughters out there who are taking a cue from army policy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's definitely, it's like there are a lot of people out there who, I mean, I don't know, I've never really talked about this in the show, but there was a time back in 2009 that I went to go join the army.
Sure.
Went down, had all my physicals, took the ASVAB, scored a 93 on the ASVAB, which means I could have scored 6 points lower and still would have been eligible for special forces. And I just didn't do it because I realized I was running away from my problems. But it's not uncommon for somebody who is in a position where they're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I am in a rut. I am just not in a good spot. Let's go join the military. And that's not a bad decision necessarily. I don't think I don't think that that's anything to be ashamed of. However, that's a reality that a lot of people have. And so you take those people in who, I mean, their motivations might not be, I want to serve my country and do all this, hoorah, and everything. You're taking people who are, it's not their first choice, probably.
Sure.
But then you're taking another group of people where, I mean, there's already trans people in the military. I mean, and if you're taking these people and saying, yeah, I know you want to help, but sorry, you can't. I think that's very counterproductive.
And like, I don't know. I mean, I have several friends who are trans military vets. I mean, the one of the threats is that people who are in the army now, if they get dishonorably discharged, um, that's it. They don't get the GI Bill. They don't get, any kind of veterans benefits. They don't. I mean, it's a blemish on their resume. All of a sudden, they are.
Yeah, and that gets known. That's, I mean, and there's boxes on job applications right next to the have you ever been convicted of a felony? Right next to theirs, have you ever been dishonorably discharged from the military services?
Right.
You have to disclose that, and that really screws with your life. And so if this gets enacted, is everyone in the military who is trans going to be dishonorably discharged?
And like, I have to. That's like 15,000 people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you fire 15,000 soldiers?
Yeah. Is it really 15,000 trans people?
Yeah, that's there's 15,000 that are in the service right now, and apparently there are 134,000 military veterans who are transgender too,
Hmm.
estimated.
It's so messed up.
Which, like, and if you think about it, like, if 134,000 military veterans are transgender, that is a staggeringly high portion of the trans community. I mean,
Mhm.
given like the estimates are like we're 0.3% of the population or something like that.
Yeah, just something below 1%, I think.
But it works out to something like a million people in the United States being transgender.
Yeah.
That's like 15% roughly of
Yeah.
trans people who are military veterans.
I wonder if, I mean, because I know, and this is kind of just speculation, and everyone has their own story, but I mean, I went through a phase where I was just hyper masculine. I dove headfirst into masculinity to try and uh,
Like,
cover up myself, and I wonder if there are, if military service is a lot of people's way to do that.
it damn well might be.
I don't know.
Might be like, I'll set me straight.
Yeah, that's just speculation on my part. It has no bearing on the situation, but but yeah, and the claim that this can't happen because of the tremendous medical costs and disruption. I mean, the medical costs. I mean, what are the medical costs?
Like, very little. Like,
Yeah.
uh now I hate the Viagra comparison going around social media.
Hmm.
That's, I mean, we know when you say it's just like, oh, the military spends 4 times as much on Viagra as it does on trans healthcare. we know you are equating, you're like kind of taking pot shots at the patriarchy. We know you're associating the penis with the patriarchy right there.
Mhm.
So that's, I'm not crazy about that one. But there was a great like little like infographic video from CNN. It's just like, this is how much is trans healthcare, and this is how much is all of healthcare. And it was like, it ended up being just like a couple of pixels in a
Mm.
gigantic block. So,
Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, I was paying out of pocket for my meds for a while, and it was still like $50 a month or so.
like there's this,
That's not a ton.
there
It-
was a conspiracy theory going on. There was some conference that they had this very controversial, very nonsense like panel about, I think it might have gotten canceled, I forget, but the about like how trans is just a conspiracy by the pharmaceutical industries to, you know, make more money off of transition. It's just like, you guys, there are no drugs for us. We are like using hand me downs here.
yeah,
You know,
Spiro is not a testosterone blocking drug. Spiro is a blood pressure drug.
right.
Estrogen is not meant for estradiol is not meant for trans women. It's meant for elderly women who are going through menopause. Like
Right.
we're piggybacking on the medical community right now.
If they actually focused on us, imagine how good my boobs would be.
I know, like I might actually have some.
Like, holy cow.
You know. Who knows? I don't know.
It's real.
I've heard that this was a political stunt, like a campaign thing.
And like, yeah, that's the, it came out of the White House just like, oh, this is gonna motivate the people in the Midwest to, you know, just to, because that's
That's
important.
that's gonna. I'm in the Midwest. Is that? I think Michigan's technically Midwest, even though it's not in the West at all.
There's a there's an excellent thing. What is it? There's a on 538 they had an article a little while ago that was just like, what is actually the Midwest? And they polled people on which states count and which ones don't. So I'm sitting pretty comfortable in Illinois. I think that's one of the ones that's,
But you're still in the eastern half of the country.
and
I feel like the Midwest would be 3/4 from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Like you're talking maybe Kansas.
it's like the heartland. That's like the Great Plains.
I don't know. I don't know who he's trying to motivate or what he's trying to do with this. I
The
I can't imagine this was good for him though.
No, I cannot, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
They're just like, I mean, God bless Chelsea Manning up there on Twitter, just picking fights with everybody. It's just like, uh, you know how much that F-135 or whatever costs? Their $1 trillion plane.
Yeah. And she knows. Like
Yeah.
not just pulling that out of her ass. Like she knows.
Yeah, did you see her? She had an editorial in the New York Times today about it.
No, I didn't.
Um, where is it?
It's in the New York Times.
Yeah, I was looking at the page. It's let's see, what'd she say? Um, with 3 tweets, the leader of the largest employer in the country just tried to lay off all trans people in the military. Many service members who were just told, "We want you," are suddenly being told, "Go away." This
Mm-hmm.
reversal by the administration from allowing trans people to serve openly in the military to outright banning us is a devastating blow to our livelihoods, our basic humanity, our survival. It is also a devastating blow to the entire credibility of the United States military for years to come. This is all painfully familiar. Once upon a time, I was denied the ability to even exist as who I am. I had to hide. I had to be in the closet. I had to lie to people I stood next to. I had to virtually eradicate my own existence from myself. I served as a gay person under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and also as a trans person under the ban on open transgender service. I came out as trans only during my years working as an analyst in the Army. So here we are again, after years of advocacy, research, experts weighing in, lives lost, we made progress. And now again, we are hurtling backwards. We are
Yeah.
risking our credibility, our legitimacy of a nation, and again, risking the lives of so many people who are listening and watching and who are already serving. I mean, God bless.
Yeah.
Oh,
We should get her on the show.
yeah.
We can totally do that, right?
Oh
We
yeah.
we
She
can totally,
moms tweets, dude.
yeah.
Runs to hell.
No, it does suck because I mean, there definitely was just this talk of like, yeah, like, come on in, you can help because like you you're able bodied and able to do stuff. Like, come on, we'll definitely take you. And then now it destroys trust in the American military when it comes to queer people. I mean this is definitely a blow to trans people specifically, but I mean even more so I feel like to I mean, just the entire queer community. It's gonna be like, no, we can't really trust you anymore. So it's not good for that. And also it's just I don't know.
Dehumanizing.
Yeah, it's dehumanizing, definitely.
I had someone going off yesterday who was saying it's just like, look, I get it. I'm queer. I was in the military, but you gotta understand, like, the culture of the military is so much different, and maybe people should just wait till after they transition. It's just like
Oh my
transition
God.
is a lifelong journey, babe. Do you want to wait until we are very dead?
Yeah, I saw that. That was terrible.
And she's like, oh, but there's like all these problems with sexual assault. It's just for their own safety. And it's just like, look, there's problems with sexual assault and murder like everywhere for trans women. It's just like, let us decide where we want to get raped and murdered.
Yeah.
No, it's our right to decide where we're going to expose ourselves. That kind of,
Hmm.
I mean, it's dehumanizing to be deprived that. Say it's just like, yeah, you're second class. Yeah.
If you want to come out with studies that show like, hey, like this job is not for somebody who is going through this. If you want to come out and give solid evidence that that's the case, I'll look into that definitely. But this is just completely absurd.
And like the thing I love the most is the very strained like statements of condemnation from the Republican senators.
Oh, the GOP allies.
Oh yeah, like Lindsey Graham going, if you can show me transgender military service is good for the fighting force, then I'll be good to go.
Can we
Cool.
just read? Can we go through and read the GOP allies?
Yeah,
Like the for those who don't know, with the day after, there are a lot of Republicans who are not behind this and spoke out about it. And they spoke out by saying some really dumb things, trying to be in support.
really half-assed. And I just like I was just combing through a senator, like I was reading some article that was just like, oh, most senators, said like condemned the statements and like pushed back, and it's just like, oh, like people were really hailing them for like fighting back against the president. And I was just like, these are really lazy. These are really half-assed.
What are they? I'm trying to find the where's the okay. Yeah, so it was a Senator Orrin Hatch. Transgender people are people.
That's
Senator Roy Blunt probably deserves more than a conversation on Twitter. Yeah, that's not an overstatement.
Senator Richard Shelby. I'll have to see what he actually said, read his tweet, and go from there.
But we're telling you what the tweet is.
I mean, it's like the reporter can like contain the entire tweet in the question.
Yeah.
The tweet isn't that long.
Senator Mike Enzi. Oh no, it was the spokesperson.
Yeah.
While she believes taxpayers shouldn't cover the costs associated with gender reassignment surgery, Americans who are qualified and can meet the standards to serve in the military should be afforded the opportunity. That is Senator Joni Ernst.
There was I was trying to find the full quote from Senator Rob Portman, but they just like paraphrased him and said he was confused by the statement.
Oh,
Rand Paul took a really like strong stance and said he doesn't usually comment on the president's tweets.
yep. I mean, that's generally a good stance to have. I can't fault him for having that stance.
I really like the way Lisa Murkowski,
Yeah.
famous for the rabble rouser in healthcare right now. I like the way she phrased it. I was one who said that those who are openly gay should not be denied the opportunity to serve our country, and I feel the same way about transgender. Transgender what?
But yeah, transgender's not a noun. It's an
not.
adjective. Yeah.
Ugh. Senator Enzi believes all individuals should be treated with respect. Cool. You're
That's awesome.
parent. You're telling your kid, cool. Why not?
I think a lot of things should be happening. What are you doing about it?
Right. Like they're
Words,
they're condemning it. And it's just like, come on,
yeah, words are super cheap.
ugh.
So, anyways, we can go ahead. Oh, I closed the article. Hang on. Well, move on to the next story. Do we have anything else to talk about with military?
I mean, we could go on for hours, but let's move on to the next thing.
Let's move on to something that I'm probably going to get super pissed off about.
Oh, I'm already angry about it.
Yeah. Man murders online date after finding out she's transgender post sex. Wait. Okay, post op, probably. So after sex, he found out that she was transgender and said, "I lost it."
I don't know. I've been reading a lot about trans people, trans women of color specifically getting murdered recently, and I read one where no, who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the from the early part of the oh, who's the one in California who got who was murdered in the earlier part of the
I don't know. There's been 17 of us so far murdered this year. You look that up. I'm gonna read the first few paragraphs of this.
Okay, go ahead.
Dwania Hickerson, a former Navy sailor, has been found guilty of the murder of Dee Wingham, a Mississippi transgender woman. Hickerson stabbed Wingham over 100 times before she died. According to People, Hickerson also pleaded guilty to robbery after taking Wingham's cell phone and purse after the murder. Jackson County District Attorney Tony Lawrence has recommended he serve only 40 years for the count of second-degree murder and 8 for the robbery. He potentially faced the death penalty for the crime. Quote, "I'd like to apologize to the victim's family. If I could take it back, I would," Hickerson said to Wingham's family. So I'm going to stop there. He was convicted. It's estimated he might only have to serve 35 years of his 40-year sentence. So take 35 years for stabbing somebody 119 times. That was the number. 119 stab wounds before she died. And then so 35 for that, 8 years for taking her phone and wallet off of her dead corpse and running away with it. All because he freaked out because he found out that she was trans. We were just having this conversation. I think last episode we were talking about the map where it is still legal in 48 states to argue that you were panicked, the trans panic, where you find out that someone is trans and you freak out and go into a rage. That's still perfectly legal to argue in a court. And now we talked about it's not common at all to get off on that. It's not excusable. But it is something that is used to get people lesser sentences. And I definitely think that's a case of what happened here. He said he just lost it. He found out that she was trans and lost it, stabbed her 19 times. And so he's only getting 35 years and then 8 for the robbery. That proportion of punishment is completely absurd. This man is 21 years old. He is going to walk free before he dies. Before he dies, he will not die in prison. If he lives to the average life expectancy of people, which is somewhere in the 70s, he is going to be a free man before he dies after doing this. And I think that is absolutely just complete and total batshit, and it pisses me off to no end. And the fact that the statement that he made to her family, to Wingham's family, is, "I would like to apologize to the victim's family." He's talking to the family, to Wingham's family. I would like to apologize to the victim's family. If I could take it back, I would. He can't even give her a goddamn name in his apology. I don't give a flying fuck if he thinks that he can take it back if he would, or he would take it back if he could. The fact that he can't even, after stabbing her 119 times after finding out she was trans, he can't even call her by name. There's so much messed up about this. This is a thing that has been going on for years. Every year since 2010, the amount of trans people that are murdered for being trans is gone up. In 2015, it was. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna figure out what it is. I figured it out. I forgot what the numbers were. Damn it, I'm losing my angry streak and my internet's not loading.
And honestly, it might just be that we don't really know whether or not it actually has gone up because they're probably just been misgendered all over the place. It's probably
more
than that number.
Was in 2015, 21 reported murders of transgender people. 2016, there were 27. And now in 2017, if it keeps going like this, we're going to be setting another record. Every year it keeps getting higher. Maybe that's because people are starting to be gendered relatively correctly. They're being called out as transgender. Most of the articles call people out as being transgender, but then like they're transgender and his name used to be this. And it's like, no, their name is this, and you don't need to throw in that her name used to be this.
Yeah.
Terrible reporting.
It's all over the place. I was looking up the one that I was looking up, the forget if we discussed this on the last show, but Gwen Araujo, who was killed in California back in 2002 for being trans, who, her mother, I believe, was the one after she got killed who like advocated to like get rid of the trans panic defense and kind of lobbied the government there in California until they made it illegal. But yeah, and of course they said some contemporary news reports referred to her by her birth name. Not going to repeat it. But it mentions that on the Wikipedia page.
It's just like we got to find some way to throw in the old name. I don't get how that is relevant information to anything.
But it says that, and this is one where like some of the people got off early or got like convicted of manslaughter, just second degree, when like she was just beaten for hours, just like this nuts. And the story, like from Wikipedia, she engaged in oral sex with one of them, anal sex with another, claimed to be menstruating, and during sex would push her partner's hands away from her genitalia to prevent them from discovering that she had a penis. And at a party, she was discovered by a forced inspection to be a trans woman.
And forced inspection, that's rape.
Oh yeah. And then the men who had sex with her became enraged and violent. One of them vomited, put her in a chokehold, punched her in the face, began to choke her. They struck her in the head with a can of food and frying pan. Eventually, they just kept beating her and rending her unconscious, and eventually just buried her in a shallow grave out in the woods.
This is why I don't like cis people. This is why I can't trust cis people. I will put up with them for a while, but it is very easy for me to dislike somebody.
Yeah,
they're cis.
I'm falling further and further away from them. And between both Dee Wiggum and also the last few years, Dee Wiggum, Erica Tiarina, and Jennifer Loud, all of them trans women of color who got killed in the last few years, all of them murdered by soldiers.
Yeah.
We want to bring it back to this trans in the military, to encouraging transphobia in the military. I wouldn't be if you're like setting making the official stance of the military that we're second class citizens, you cannot be surprised when they start murdering trans women of color.
It's like the issue of like send a girl home to change her clothes because she's distracting the boys at school. It's taking that issue and just making it just this is ginormous. This is what it happens when adults have to deal with this.
Right.
Like, don't put trans people around men because men aren't going to like it and it's not going to end weird and we can't do anything about it because men will be men. Complete bullshit.
I mean, there is like, granted, there's like a huge issue with sexual assault in the military, even amongst this people. You know, I mean, there's I think there's some like broader case that I think Al Franken sponsored a bill in Congress to deal with it, but it was just like impossible for women in the military to like actually, you know, get justice against their accusers, you know, just because of how everything was set up. So, I mean, I imagine that it's terrible, but you know, it's not our fault.
It's our right to do that. If we want to serve in that manner, we should be able to do it.
Not going to help by dehumanizing us.
No, it's not going to help. It's going to help by maybe looking at the people that are murdering us and doing something about them.
Yeah. And I mean, I
we're not big and scary and intimidating. We're not. It's not who we are. It goes back to what we were talking about 2 weeks ago with the abuse thing. Like we're not the people that caused this.
No. We're not, and we get
blamed with it all the time.
Get blamed, we get mischaracterized, you know, it's hell.
Yeah.
It's so terrible. And I mean, God, it's even worse for trans women of color. It's
yeah,
worse for that. Like I'm like, I'll be real. I'm white and relatively speaking, I'll be okay, you know, compared to what trans women of color have to deal with.
Yeah.
They're getting they have a much I mean, some of the trans women of color I know, you know, belong to multiple intersections and are accepted by none, you know.
Yeah. And
The other day I saw like in the discussion of this when I saw, you know, there someone like someone who was like yelling at a black Jewish trans woman because she is just like, could you not invoke the Holocaust when you're talking when like to refer to this as a genocide for against trans people? Could you not invoke the Holocaust? I lost a lot of my family there, and it's just like, and they just like another trans person just totally disrespected them. It's just was just so rude about it.
it's so dumb because if you want to be part of the queer community, well, that's run by white gay men. If you want to be a trans guy, or if you want to be in the trans community and you're a trans man, well, sorry, that's run by white trans women. If you want to be a black trans woman, or if you are a black trans woman, sorry, that's run by white trans women. And I just, I don't know. There needs to be more work done inside and outside of the community to understand that people's intersections mean that everyone has a very different experience depending on what groups they belong to. And we need to respect that and be mindful of that.
It is my firm conviction that you should be like all of us should be sticking up for those of us who, you know, have, you know, less privilege than us. You know, I mean, it's that, you know, okay, being trans sucks. I'm white and trans, I'm gonna be relatively okay. What I gotta do is go, stick up for trans people of color, trans women of color, and make sure they have somebody yelling on their behalf and just count on, I don't know, count on some whatever, people to be self-interested or well-meaning cis people. It's just like you got to stick up for those with less privilege than you. You got to use your privilege for good.
And it sucks because it is hard.
It
Because
is.
you look at, I mean, you look at all the problems that, I mean, just you and I face.
Yeah.
We're not in the military. We're
No.
white. We
Sure.
don't deal with this stuff. And so it's very easy to get caught up in like, well, shit, I'm going through stuff too.
Right.
Like I've got issues too. I got to worry about number one. And it's very, very easy to get into that mindset where you are worried about yourself. And I completely get it. The issues that you face are the most important things that in the world to you. And it's very reasonable to think that, okay, yeah, I need to advocate for these issues that are hard for me. And I think it's very rare. And it's very rare for people to look and to work to forward a movement comprised of people that they don't necessarily belong to.
Right.
I think that's rare, and I think it's very hard. I think it's very difficult to wrap your head around that.
So there's something that came out just recently. I don't know if you saw it. I posted it the other day. It's called The Evolution of Trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's this interactive game. Well, it's not really a game, but it's an interactive guide to like how trust erodes in communities,
Mm-hmm.
how people can trust each other. And that's, it kind of tells you what kind of person, it suggests what kind of person you need to be to better, rebuild trust in your community and rebuild trust among the people you care for. And I think that's something that, I mean, it's hard, and we are, as a community, so quick to just like to jump down the throats of anybody who is, kind of, I mean, there are purity tests. There are, I mean, people will exile other people because they, there's something that they heard, some mistake, whatever. But it's something where I make it a point to take care of other trans people, of other trans women, of, people with less privilege than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to trust that they will be there to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
That, if I, maybe that's naive, but, if you put it out into the world,
Yeah.
you gotta hope it's gonna come back for you. Um,
It also sucks too. I mean, it's one thing doing something when you're feeling good.
right.
It's one thing when your life is going okay and you don't have a lot to worry about to go out and work with other people. I mean, I've been feeling relatively good, all things considered, and I'm working to slowly move forward to make a transgender version of that "You Feel Like Shit" webpage that we talked about a couple weeks ago. And so it's very easy for me to be in a mindset where I can put my mind to something and make something that can help other people.
Yeah.
However, there are plenty of times when, I mean, take 2 weeks ago, like I could not get out of bed to save my life.
Right.
And a lot of trans people go through those phases where you do not have the mental energy to spare on other people.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been miserable, miserable, miserable recently. I've been having a real tough time. And
I'm coming to Chicago. We're going to be doing tourist shit.
yeah, it's gonna be cool. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of it is I personally like didn't find a lot of I found a lot of my identity by being able to really, be there for people and fight for people.
Mhm.
Identify places where it's just like, well, if it's bad for me, it's 10 times worse for this person, and I can, use what gifts and what privileges I have to, give them whatever lift up I can manage. So, I
Well,
mean,
it's also like you go and you look at. I'm a huge fan of. Oh, that's not something I want to have being played right now.
yeah,
I am a huge, and we're actually way over time, but I'm a big proponent that one of the best ways that you can gain a perspective on different communities is by collecting stories. That's why I'm a huge fan of shows like Risk, where people get up and tell stories, very intimate looks into people's lives about things that aren't really talked about in common conversation at all.
right.
And it's one of the reasons why I love doing things that I wouldn't normally do, is because I collect all these stories from different people and I see different perspectives. I think it's one of the reasons why I talk so much about stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was posed to me. I mean, we talked a lot about suicide 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And just because I talk about things doesn't make it any less legitimate than somebody who doesn't talk about it. And I think it just adds a whole new perspective to things.
Oh, yeah.
Makes it a lot easier to understand and see what other people are going through. And so helping and getting involved with different communities is a great way to, and it probably shouldn't be your number one motivation, but it's a great way to kind of broaden your field of view.
Right. When I'm creative, when I'm write songs, when I write, write things, I like to be able to really dive into these areas that aren't comfortable in a polite cis society. Um,
Mhm.
I like to, dive into stuff about, the trans woman's relationship with her genitalia, or surgeries, or how you like bathroom anxieties, or just a
Mhm.
bunch of things that you might have read someone's personal essay on Medium about, but it just isn't explored necessarily. And just to talk, I mean, back when I was in Ann Arbor in February, I performed a song that was just about a just this um the sexual relationship I had that just shifted and fell apart as I transitioned in gender, because the woman who I was intimate with said she was not gay, and it's just like, well,
Yeah, not.
news for you, baby. This is gonna challenge you here, and to be able to get those stories out is empowering.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about time we wrapped it up. We're actually like 15 minutes over right now.
I'm
What
sorry, everybody.
I'm sorry. I know you hate listening to our voices, but we appreciate it. One thing I want to mention before we go, because I'm gonna forget about it, a normal lost phone. Look it up on any app store that you can find, on your phone or whatever. A normal lost phone. Drop the $3 or $4 on it. It's completely worth it. It's a little game. You find a phone and you gotta search through and you gotta find some stuff out about this person.
You'll like it, I promise.
It's really good. I played it straight through and couldn't set it down. And I didn't need to look a lot of stuff up. It was fairly straight. It was challenging, but also fairly straightforward enough to where I could work stuff out. So
It's something where even if you're not a quote unquote gamer, you can go through. It's just like kind of it's built like you're exploring someone's phone.
you're hacking somebody, but you're also learning a story about this person, and it's a very touching story. So go check that out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, head on over and drop us an email at diaryofatranswoman@gmail.com. I am at Abby Geek on Twitter. The show is at Trans Diary Show.
I'm at ShiamX500.
Yep. And if you want to drop 5-star reviews anywhere you get this show, that's going to be greatly appreciated. If you really want to help out the show, head on over to patreon.com/diary of a trans woman. Let me look this up real quick. We just hit a milestone, EJ. After our last episode, we got an awesome donation from good friend Heather out in Salt Lake City, and that pushed us over our $75 an episode goal. And so that means I'm gonna start making some stickers.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna start making some stickers. If you're at that $5 or above, I'm gonna be reaching out to you. If I don't have your email or your address, I'm gonna reach out to you, grab that, and I'll send you out some stickers once we get that going.
Oh geez, it's gonna be good.
I'm pumped. I'm also is very much in the early stages of things, but I'm talking with one of my good friends about making some sew-on patches.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
We're going big time, y'all. We're going big time.
We're going big time.
It's a cool
Hopefully eventually
Patreon. We're coming up with cool stuff all the time. So
even if you don't support that over there, I'm hoping to eventually get a store running on the website, DOAT. We don't talk about the website enough. If you want to find us on an actual website, DOATW.com is where you want to go for that.
So listening to now, you can find sick bios of us.
Yeah, with pictures.
Yeah. You can listen to us.
Listen to us. But I think that just about does it. Patreon.com. Go there. Be one of the cool people.
Patreon.com/Diary of a Trans Woman.
That does it. All right. Music for the show is provided by Same Sex Mary. Be sure to go and check out more of their work. samesexmary.bandcamp.com. They're awesome people, and I love them. Taylor Lane Straw, I love her awesome because she did the artwork for the show, and I really appreciate that. TaylorLanePhoto.com is her site. Go and check her out. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Yeah, EG will see you next time too.
We'll see you next time.
Next time.
Next time. What?
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 What?